Okay, so we are looking at aggregate demand right now. So, what I thought I would do is show you today, which is March 18th, Wednesday, the front page of the New York Times, because we are seeing in real time what all of this is happening and like how we're taking aggregate demand and applying it to our economy. As you can see, two things are going on here, and I'll scroll more for you. But you can see that Trump is seeking 500 billion in direct payment to taxpayers. That is directly one big giant. Let me go back. That is one big giant increase in the consumption portion of GDP. He is trying to increase, well, he and all of Congress and everyone, the government is trying to increase the C portion of aggregate demand so we don't fall too far into recession. You can also see here the Dow Jones is now down. That's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's one of the metrics we use to determine the relative health of the stock market of the biggest companies in each market. And you can see it's down to 19,424. 3 weeks ago, it was at 29,000. So this is now below um, the day that President Trump took office. And I only mention that because we tend to look at Dow Jones Industrial Averages in sort of 4-year increments when we're talking about fiscal policy with the government affecting output and GDP and unemployment. And so when you look at that Dow Jones, what we've seen is you can see it's down almost 8.5% now. You can see it changing. That is wealth that's leaving. I know in my class I've talked about all the money that I've lost. I'm sure maybe some of your parents have. And so that is literally just less money we're going to have, which means the consumption functions, the C portion of GDP, is going to be diminished. And that's going to bring AD down or shift it to the left. So this 500 billion in direct payments is one way that they're going to, good Lord, this is one way they're going to try to fix the problem by giving direct money. Now, another thing that we're seeing is layoffs are starting. And as layoffs start, that's people having less money to spend, which means less part of the C portion, right? The consumer spending portion of the economy, which is 2/3 of our economy. So this is a really big deal. And that's why the government is trying to do this. This also happened. It happened in '08 and '09. President Bush and President Obama both did this. We call this expansionary fiscal policy. Another argument people are making is if you click here, you can see that one of the biggest arguments is instead of just bailing out companies is to provide a bridge loan. That is to say, to give people low interest rates or hardly any money to company or any to give money with very low interest rates or no interest rates to companies so they can make it through this. You can see that they are trying to send $1,000 checks to every taxpayer. And the hope behind that is that those people like me and your parents will go and spend that money, and that will create some sort of momentum. Now, in a couple of days, you'll learn about the multiplier effect. The multiplier effect is that we are that with every dollar that we spend, it has a multiplying effect on GDP. And you're going to learn that the multiplier is relative to how much we save versus how much we spend. The less we save, the more that dollar multiplies every time you spend it, the more it helps the GDP. The more we save, the less it helps, and the lower the multiplier. And again, you'll see videos on that in a couple of days, but I want you to focus on aggregate demand and how it literally is affecting right now. But you can see that with the business end, that's trying to affect the I portion of GDP, right? The investment portion, the capital goods portion. So just right here, we're seeing the government giving direct payment to people and the government being encouraged to give loans so the investment portion of GDP doesn't fall off. Another problem that we're having right now is the issue with ventilators. So one of the things that people are currently can't really are agree on is a lot of Americans, some don't think this is a big deal. Those who don't think it are ridiculous. But one of the bigger problems is the longer this goes, the fewer ventilators we're going to have. We haven't tested a lot of people yet. And so the more people we test, the more we're going to find out people have this virus. But that's good because then we'll know who we can fix. The problem is that this is a virus that uh, is going to affect your lungs more, right? It's a pulmonary. So we need more ventilators. And so what this means is the government might have to step in and hire companies to make more and more ventilators. And that will be the C portion of GDP, or sorry, the G portion of GDP. And you can see that that would help aggregate demand too. And so we're seeing unprecedented levels of government interaction, which is since '08 really, but even before that, this is even more. And we're seeing this um, ironically from governments that traditionally did not like giving direct payments to people, but under these sort of conditions, we're seeing some extraordinary changes in the way people are going about their daily life and the role of government. And moving forward, it's going to be a lot different. The Americans' role of government, and as you have seen before, and I've showed you this over and over and over, that, and I'm having the debt clock come up again. This $1 trillion in deficit is going to go up much, 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 much higher. And the revenue we're seeing over here is going to go down as people get laid off. They're going to have less taxes that they're going to pay because they don't have enough money to pay taxes. And the government's going to be spending more and more money to prop up the economy. And so this is going to change. We talked about in school, we're going to see the GDP per deficit, the GDP per debt ratio begin to really, where is it? The GDP per, where do we find that? Total debt to GDP ratio. We're going to see this go up and up and up, and that is worrisome. Although total debt is, that's all debt combined, not just national debt. Oh, here we go. It's 107. So this number right here is a 107.3. That's a worrisome number because, it's gone up almost 3% in the last few months. As a result of this economic crisis, we're going to see this number really skyrocket. We're going to see this number go down, and we're going to see the deficit go up. And then, by all accounts, we're going to see the debt explode even further. So all of that is coming from this crisis, and you can see the government trying to, as we speak, affect aggregate demand. And you can see that in real time. So all the stuff that you learned about in the video from ACDC Economics, the stuff that we worked on, that you work on your homework, all of that is happening real time. So I hope you can see that.